Hello and welcome to my channel. What I want to do today is, I don't know if you remember, the last few beginner projects were all done for a friend of mine. He was the guy that I used to work with. It's not someone I hang with, but I consider him a friend. I made the little coupling and I made the little thrust washer out of Delrin. He asked me if I could make something. He says it's really small, so I'm going to consider this a quick video. But you never know, I could probably screw this up. This part is 1/8 of an inch in diameter and only 1/4 inch long. And it has a 1/16 ID. It's a little more trickier than that. It's the OD is 0.126 to 0.127. In millimeters, that's 1.63 to 1.65. It's close. And the ID is 0.063 to 0.065, which comes out to 1.65 millimeters. And it's 1/4 inch long. 6.35 millimeter. When I made that last part, the Delrin, I still have a lot of that Delrin left. But I told him I have a nice piece of brass, 5/32 in diameter. It'd be real quick. I could turn it, face it, drill it right away. Or I have a piece of bronze. It appears like I was using it as some kind of punch or something. I remember this from a long time ago, but it's bronze. He didn't want it. He says he really likes the Delrin. So I says, it's your project. We'll do it the way you want. When I did that project, I made the little coupling and I got a comment from a man. The name on the comment was Len Roddis. Roddis, R-O-D-D-I-S. Len, I don't know if you're watching, but you made a comment that my problem drilling all the way through, I don't know, was that thing 3/4, 7/8, 1 inch long? But I had a problem, the chips were clogging out. I didn't like the way it felt, so I cut it off and turned it around and finished from the other side. He told me what he thought I was doing wrong was I was putting too much oil on it. And this is the oil I use. It's dark thread cutting oil. If you ever went to the hardware or something when they're cutting pipe threads, this is the oil that they put on it. It's the same thing we used in the shops long, long ago. But what he said he did was use WD-40. I told him it's worth a try. I asked him how he applies it, if he sprays it on. He says no, he uses the brush. So we're going to do that again. We're going to try your stuff out, Len, on this piece of Delrin. I found my drill. The drill bit is 048, 047. No, I'm wrong. 055. I didn't want to leave too much material in there to ream because he wants it reamed to 063, which is a 1/2 thousandth over nominal, to 065. It gives me a 2,000th tolerance. And this reamer is, I think, it's 064.5. So this is a 2,000ths over reamer. And I have this little 55,000th drill bit to catch my thing. I'll hang it out of the chuck. But center drilling, I think I just went through a center drilling thing for beginners. I was going to use the spotting drill, but I think I'm going to use a center drill and use it the way I told people to use it if you're going to use it as a spot drill. And just put the very tip in there. Just make a little mark for this drill to pick up. Okay, let's get over to the lathe. All right. I put a small chuck in here. I indicated it out here. It's within a couple thousandths. It should be fine. Anyway, I have my material, my Delrin. And I'm going to have my stop set. I always use a dead stop. But the length is just going to be scaled. I'm just going to use a scale for that 1/4 inch length. The first thing I want to do is just face it off. Power. Forward. High gear. Let's just face this off quick. Now I'm just gonna do the diameter right away. I'm probably going to take a lot more than a 1/4 inch. Not a lot more, but that looks like it's about 3/8 of an inch. That's more than enough to get my 1/4 inch and my 1/16 cutoff in there. As I get down to the nitty-gritty, way down there, I'm going to have to take some fine cuts because it's going to want to flex, I'm sure. Let's see where I'm at. I like to take a cut, measure, and see about how much I need to take off. 315.5, we'll say 315. And I want to go to 125. I'm going to take 2 50,000ths cut. That's what I'm going to do. I think I mentioned last time I did this, don't just be grabbing this stuff off. It will grab your fingers. Okay, I took 100,000ths off. I'm going to take 15 more. I'm going to take 10 and then a 5. That should be 200. Okay, it's 205 there. Yeah, it is moving over. It's moving. It's 202, and out on the end it's 204.5. Let's see if I can get a skim cut. I don't know if you were able to see that, but it did take a real light cut. See if it straightened it out. 2 inches 3. which is 1. No, it didn't. I am going to, I just want to see, while it's still oversized, what happens if I put my lathe file on there. It's within 5/10. Let's take the next 74 or 73. What I'm going to do is take 25, 25, and then take a bunch of 5/1000 cuts so it will even out. This may be sticking out too far. You know, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change that insert. I've used it for steel, copper, brass, plastic. I'm going to change that out. I don't really like carbide when it comes to plastics. I like to use high-speed steel. Maybe that's just me being old-fashioned. The tool geometry means a lot. And nowadays they really have some nice tool geometry in the carbide inserts. Plus you take an insert out, replace it, and the height is right there. Nothing has to be adjusted. But anyway, okay, I'm going to take my 25 and 25 and see how this goes. Take a 25. I'm going to start taking 5/1000 at a time. I was taught a long time ago when carbides were just coming out. Yeah, I was learning. That was 10/1000. Carbide puts a lot of pressure. You have to apply a lot of pressure before it cuts. Where high-speed steel, you don't. And I think that's where I got the idea that I cut plastic with high-speed steel. And this thing is really wobbly. We're going to have to finish it up with the lathe file. Let me see if I can find a high-speed steel cutter. Okay, I have my piece of high-speed steel in here, and we're gonna see. I kind of touched it on the front. It looks like it's the right height, and I touched it on the diameter. I also set my stop, but I really didn't cut anything. Let's do this. I'm just gonna skim it until it's just starting to take material. And that happened right away. Let's see where we're at. 129. It looks like it, before it wouldn't even cut on the tip. The carbide was just pushing it away. Okay, I'm going to take about 1,000 and see what happens. It's still just cutting in the front, and then it just touched way in the back. $28. See, what was my tolerance here? What was I going for? 126 to 127 OD. Where am I? 26 and a half. That's what it is. That's not bad. 26 and a half. The high-speed steel did it. It worked. I don't always, I just tried to do it with carbide. I try to always use high-speed steel when I'm cutting plastic. It doesn't create as much tool pressure is what I was taught when I was an apprentice. But then carbides were just coming out. It was usually a big block of carbide, negative rake on a piece of steel, just flat. There was no geometry to it. You had to grind it, and the only thing you had was a green wheel, if that. And then the cemented carbides came out, and that was a miracle. Wow, look at this. But then when insert carbides came out, that was something. And nowadays, I know they have high-speed steel inserts. I've never bought them, so I'm gonna have to look. Traverse Tool, they sell all kind of stuff for little machines and stuff. But anyway, let's drill this hole in here, or let's see if I can. What we're gonna do is put a little spot face on here using the front of a center drill. I think last week I was talking about center drills, when to use them and when not to use them. You can use a center drill all the time, but when you're putting a hole in there, don't go all the way up the angle. You don't want to do that. You just want to touch it, and that's all I'm going to do with this, is just touch it if it fits in here. Let's do this. It put a little dot there, but that's probably good enough. Okay, let's see if I can drill that hole. Let's put a little drill in there. I'm going to try and use some WD-40. I'm just going to spray it into the cap here. I don't think I need more than that. And I have a little brush that I cut back. Let's see if I can do this. I think that's deep enough. Put our reamer in here. And what size did I say this reamer was? 064 and a half. 064, something like that. I'm going to turn this down to low gear. That's good. I'm going to put that little drill bit in there. 46 thousandths. Put my cutoff tool in, which I already know is on the proper height. I'm going to bring it to, that looks like about 1/4 inch. Okay, let's do this. I want this in high gear. All right, pin did its job. Let's get over to the table. I'm going to take this little, I was looking for this earlier. I couldn't find it. It was on the table. Just kind of clean up the ID. let's see where we're at with the length. That's the part I eyeballed. It needed to be 1/4 inch long. That's 6.35 millimeters. 13 thousandths over by eye. That's okay. The OD, that's what we were having a problem with. But it turned out really nice. I get 127 on the button. It could have swelled up a little bit when I was reaming. I have thousandths it swelled up. Okay, I have a 162.5 pin and 063 is the bottom, so 062.5 goes on real nice. It spins, so it's probably at least 063. And this is a 066 pin. Yes, so that's 1,000th bigger than the top, so this should not go in. And it did not. It is over 100 degrees in here. It has to be. I am dripping sweat. I ordered one of those wall air conditioners that you don't have to vent a month ago. It's on back order. It'll be snowing here in Colorado before I get it. Anyway, Len, where's his last name? Len Rodis. Len Rodis. Rodis. Roddis. I know I'm killing your last name. You suggested I use WD-40. I know that wasn't much of a test for my Delrin, but I like the way it felt. I'm probably going to use this. I'll only use my dark thread cutting oil, which I always use. We called it brown oil. Brown. It always worked. Makes smoke and shit. But I also have some water-soluble coolant. And I have a spray unit somewhere I'm going to have to get out. Like I said, Len, I know that wasn't much of a test for your oil, but I'll try it on stainless the next time I do it, when I have a long, small drill. But I think this is a wrap. So I'm going to have to say, until next time, enjoy.